let's get back to it. The early season schedule. In terms of the weaker opponents, the Browns, let's go to the end of the schedule, Mike. Skip ahead to the end because the last 5 weeks is killer. Now, the Browns, in theory, may be a good enough team that it does. I said this
Leave
a couple
me alone.
of years
I'm
ago.
trying to read the schedule.
Let me tell you something. 2 years ago when we started this show, I remembered saying on this show that when you are a good team, it doesn't matter who you play. Because if you're a good team, you think you could beat anybody, right, Ty?
That's a fact.
Okay. When you were at Ohio State, you didn't give a rat's ass who you played.
Yeah, we was going to win.
You thought you were going to win every game when you're a good team.
We did.
Now, for the last couple of years, because on this show, but for many years overall in Cleveland, we've always been uptight about the schedule. And I saw Earl tweet yesterday. Well, I don't remember. I'll paraphrase what he said, but he basically said, "Well, I don't care who the Browns play for the first time in forever because I think my team is good and it doesn't matter." Earl, did I paraphrase you?
You got that right. You got that right.
Okay, so I agree with that. Now we talked about it. We're going to continue to talk about it.
The last 5 games.
The difference between the Browns being good and great is how good is Deshaun Watson. We know they're a good football team. They can be a great football team if Deshaun plays up to his capabilities. But if he does, then it's irrelevant who they play when. Yeah, they're going to lose some games because there's a lot of tough teams.
Whoa. Well, yes to that. But when I looked at the schedule, I think it's actually right. If you got a graphic of like the full schedule,
it's good. Good bye. We'll get to the bye later.
Because of the fact that, like, for the first 4 games, let me see the first 4 games. The first 4 games, I'm assuming that Nick Chubb starts off on the PUP.
Right.
You don't need him for them games. Maybe the Cowboys, but outside of those, you don't really need.
Well, that's the
him.
first one.
Shut up, Jason.
Well,
they don't listen. The first 4 games, you don't really need him for those games.
How many of those games do you right now? Based on right now. We obviously will change.
At worst, I see them going 4-1.
Well, but what do you think the point spreads? Like, are the Browns favored? How many of those games are the Browns favored in? I think they've opened as a 1-point dog against Dallas.
They're a 1-point dog.
They favored against. They should be favored for the rest of them. Maybe
maybe
Jacksonville.
They'll be a dog at Jacksonville.
Yeah, maybe at Jacksonville. Maybe
a slight dog.
But the rest of them, yes.
I mean, by games 4 and 5, it depends how they've done so far. But going into the season, I would think we know they're a slight dog to Dallas. They're probably a slight dog at Jacksonville. They're favored against the Giants, probably a slight favorite at the Raiders, and probably a slight favorite at Washington.
Yeah.
So favored 3 out of 5. I think to be in good shape, the Browns have to win at least 3 of those first 5.
I agree.
They need to get off to a good start, I think, because things get. Now, this second chunk of the schedule, this is a very tough chunk. Now, the good news is you go a month after playing in Philly in Week 6 to end a 3-week stretch of being on the road. Then you're home for a month because you got 3 straight home games and a bye.
What I like about that is the fact that you get 6 games to tune up. We know the AFC is the toughest division.
Yeah.
You get 6 games to establish who you're going to be, what you are offensively, defensively, and special teams-wise, that when the games that matter in your division the most, boom, you got a plan Week 7. That's perfect for them.
Yeah, I mean, last year they had 3
year.
division games in the first
that's what
5
I'm saying.
weeks.
Yeah, it could get early, late.
Yeah, and
Or
the
later
Browns
early,
play. We'll see it as we go along. The Browns in divisional games play all 3 teams at home first. And then late in the season, they play all 3 on the road, which is interesting. I don't remember ever seeing that. Not that I don't know if I paid close attention. This is a tough chunk, though, we would admit, even though they're at home here.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the Eagles on the road and the Bengals, Ravens, Chargers at home. We don't know how good the Chargers are going to be. But if those teams are all healthy, you got 4 excellent quarterbacks in consecutive weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
You think they're favored underdogs like we did for the first 5? How do you think
If I'm
this
making the spread today,
this is based on today.
I think they're a dog to the Eagles,
For sure,
definitely.
yes.
Favored against the Bengals.
I don't think so.
They favored.
I think today they would.
At home?
I'm telling.
What do you get? It used to be 3. What do you get now for being at home?
It's 1.5 for home.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think the
You
Bengals are a
think
slight
the
favorite.
Bengals would be favored?
Right now, well, the Bengals over-under's 10.5. The Browns is 8.5. So you got to go. That's got to factor in.
I don't.
I'm just giving you my opinion
Is it
on
still
what I
that
think.
right now? Because I thought, first of all, I lost my calf stick
Yeah.
officially too. It
that's
broke
true.
my heart. I should have cashed
Yeah.
out for the 90 cents.
Should've
But
taken it.
right now, if you telling me right now that the over under is 8.5 for the Browns win, I should put a 20 on that right now. I only bet 10.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, I'm not making the odds. That's what they are. I would say the Browns would be about a 4-point dog at Philly. I say they're a 2-point dog at home against the Bengals. I think they're a 3-point dog at home against the Ravens, and they're a 3-point favorite at home against the Chargers.
I'm gonna
Maybe
say
more.
they'd be I say a 3-point dog to the Eagles. I say they favorite at home against the Bengals.
I could see them. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Dog to the Ravens, favorite Chiefs.
I
or
could
Chargers.
see them being like a 1-point dog to the Bengals and Ravens, favored to the Eagles and favored to the Chargers.
Favorite?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Dog to the Eagles, obviously. Favored
But
against
they're
the
not going to
Chargers.
be a big dog.
So they're going to be 3 dogs and
They're all,
one
they're all
favorite.
pretty close, regardless.
Really
Yeah,
close.
yeah,
All
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
close.
2
Steve,
and
let's
2.
go to the next.
They're probably a
slate.
3-point favorite against the Chargers.
They favor for
All right,
sure.
now,
against
so
the
the first chunk is favorable. The second chunk is tough, but at home. First chunk favorable, but mostly road. Second chunk is not favorable, but mostly home. This third chunk is favorable, but again, more on the road. You're playing, a decent Steeler team. I don't think the Saints are going to be very good, and I don't think the Broncos are going to be very good, but both of those games are on the road.
Yeah.
You play the Steelers twice in 3 weeks.
Saints are coming off a bye.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Browns.
We are coming
No,
off.
no,
of
the Browns.
Oh,
The
Browns.
Saints
You said the
game.
Saints.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Saints
okay.
game, you're
Say
coming
it
off
like
a bye.
that.
All right. Now, in this, I think the Browns, as of today, they're favored in 3 of those 4 games. They're a slight dog at Pittsburgh.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And then the last 4, which is
Now
where
this
it gets
is
real
the
tough.
killer.
Tough way to end it.
They better be in good shape now. Not that they couldn't win. If Deshaun Watson is Houston Deshaun, they
know.
could play anybody. I mean, they could beat anybody.
I like the
But
fact
this
that
schedule on paper is brutal.
I like the fact that Miami's coming here.
Yeah, right.
And so that
a
gives
big
you the
benefit.
hope. I hope it snows. I hope it does.
Well, it's December 29th, I believe, is that
It should
game,
be
so
snowing.
it's possible. Chiefs at home, at the Bengals, Dolphins at home, at the Ravens. They're a dog in all those games. The Miami game, they're probably a slight favorite
Because
today.
it's late in the year.
And
If
it's
it was
here.
early,
Yeah.
I think the Dolphins
Right.
would be favored if
do
it was
it.
September.
Like I
But
said,
they're more than as of today. Again, we don't know what the records are going to be, but as of today, they're a three-point or more dog in the other 3 games.
But I like the fact that this is where it's at because
Yeah.
you want to play your best football in December.
And
I
you know
always
what?
say that the last month you have to be playing your best ball.
That's right.
And you ain't got no choice
And if
but
the-
to be playing good against
if the
them.
Browns are going to be legit Super Bowl contenders,
They got to beat something. One
what's
of them.
better than get?
They got to beat one. They
gotta
got to
go
beat
through
them
those teams.
eventually.
You gotta
Earl,
go
in
through
your
those
tweet
teams.
yesterday, you mentioned the term battle tested. Well, they'll be battle tested if they get through this and make it to the playoffs.
Yep.
There's no doubt about that. You can't
Well, this-
really come up with a much tougher schedule than that.
You're not going to go 0-4 and make the playoffs. On
No
that
chance.
stretch.
No.
In that stretch.
Is this the first game Deshaun plays Patty since? Why? No, I won't say that.
I don't think he's not.
Have they
playing
not
against-
played since
I don't
that?
think they have.
Since the playoff game where he was up and then they lost?
Say again?
Unless they played in 2020.
When Deshaun was at 10 was
Can
at
you
the
guys look and
Texans,
see if the
they
Chiefs
played
played the Texans in
Remember
2020?
Deshaun went up like 24 points and then
Yeah,
Patty
yeah,
came
yeah,
back
yeah,
on
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Is this the first time they played since
They
then?
might have played in 2020. The COVID year.
COVID year.
Before
Ant's
he
looking
sat
it up
out.
right now.
I'm not sure.
What's that, Mike?
Ant's
Looking it up.
Yeah, if they didn't play in 2020, because he hasn't played against the Chiefs since he's been here.
No.
They had to have at least. You would think in the next year, following year, they should have made that like one of the first 2 games.
But did the Texans
They did play the following year,
2020.
2020? So,
according to Anthony.
Yeah.
What was the score?
34-20.
by the way, Mike said that, according to Anthony, as if it's Anthony, it could be wrong. That's kind of how you said that. Let's be honest about it.
Unintentional.
Yeah.
Love Ant.
So,
2-2. I
Hey,
got 2-2 in that.
hey, there's no, again, there could be injuries. But on paper, the list of quarterbacks you're facing this season, go back to the beginning again, Mike.
Yeah.
So you got Dak, Trevor Lawrence,
Danny Dimes,
nothing,
Gardner
nothing,
Minshew,
nothing. Oh, you got 3 weeks in a row. against
Jaden
nothing
Daniels.
quarterbacks. All right, let's see the next one. Okay,
Jalen Hurts.
then Hurts,
Bang.
Burrow,
Bang.
Lamar,
Bang.
Herbert.
Bang.
Next.
Derek
All right,
Carr.
then it softens up again in this third one.
Derek Carr,
the
Russell
best guy you're
Wilson,
facing is Russell Wilson
Bo Nix.
Or Justin Fields.
or
by
Justin
then.
Fields.
Bo
And then the
Nix.
fourth one, boom, Mahomes,
Bang.
Burrow,
Bang.
Tua,
Bang.
Jackson.
Bang.
Well, remember when we was talking
So
about...
you're
It's a
facing
lot of banging.
I tell you what, remember when I had the conversation and I said he's going to be top 10 this year, and I think we said QBR is what we went off of.
Yeah.
He going head to head with a lot of them. So
Well, they have.
he got to outplay them. That's what he got to do. I got to do better than that guy over there.
What's fascinating about the Browns' schedule is they play 10 good quarterbacks. Again, barring injury, they play 10 frontline quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, 10 games.
10 games
Two,
against,
it's
two Burrow,
Lamar twice
two.
and two Burrow. But 10 games against frontline quarterbacks, and the 7 that are not against frontline quarterbacks are together. It's games 3, 4, and 5 against non-frontier quarterbacks, and then games 11 to 14, 10 to 13, because it's Saints, Steelers, Broncos, Steelers.
It's crazy to have the Steelers twice in 3 weeks.
They always
I
did
know.
this. That's where they did
I think
this
the
a
Bengals
bunch
and
of
Ravens
times.
are doing the same thing, if I remember correctly.
They did this like 2 or 3 years ago where they played, win a week, and then played again. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Or was it they played, went on a bye, and then played again? It was something weird.
I think they did. Didn't they do that with the Ravens?
It was something weird.
Yeah, I think they did do that with the Ravens.
I think with the Ravens, or did that happen because of COVID? Was that the COVID year?
I don't
know.
remember, but it was like, wow.
All right, Mike, what do you got? We're going to talk about when the Browns. Remember, last year the Browns had a Week 5 bye, which is a terrible week to have your bye. This year it's different. Do we like it or not? We'll get to it next.
Yeah, we're gonna compare